Sorry for the delay on that. But even though this goes to the next day, the next lesson, lesson 87. Can you believe my daughter's still asking me for ice cream? This is downright scary. This is 2 days in a row. She just stuck her tongue at me as well. How rude. But anyway, we'll keep going with math because she's such a sweet girl. But anyway, we will continue. Today we are dealing with lesson 87 in math. She's frowning now, but anyway. Lesson 87 in math. And we're talking about the area of a triangle. Notice I left the word up there from the previous lesson, show work. All right, we have a formula here we need to use. You need to write it down. You need to keep it somewhere. My note takers, put it with your notes because you need to have it. You should get it more memorized as well as the rest of the formulas. Because a triangle, and we'll get into the examples of this, are going to follow this. So what the formula is, area equals 1/2 times base times height. Now, if you notice, this is how it's written out in the book, but I wrote it out so you could actually see using the dot as a multiplication symbol. So 1/2 times base times height. And what that basically means is this. If I put numbers in for this, I'm just going to show you. If I had a base of 4 and a height of 3, so it would be looking like this. 1/2, so I put my multiplication, so I do the basic math. I would then set it, of course, to 1, so everything can multiply together. So I have 1 times 4 is 4, times 3 is 12, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, and we have 2. Divided by 2, now we divide by 2, which equals 6. So the area of whatever my triangle was I just had, area equals, say it was in inches, it would be 6 inches squared if I was dealing in inches. So that's kind of a rough sketch of how the formula is being used and what I would do. The key is I have my division, dividing by 2 at the end of my multiplication. Okay? So with that in mind, I'm going to clean off this bottom part, but I'm going to keep this top part up. And it won't take me long to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away my little covering. So I have a problem here. Now, if you notice, here's an actual triangle. And we have a side, we have a base here of 8, because that's the base. We have another line here that's 5. And we have then a dotted height line. Now keep in mind, if they would have did something goofy like this, where they said this is a height line instead, that means this is the base. Because the dotted line that is invisible is the height line is always perpendicular to the base. So you need to make sure you know where that dotted line is wherever it occurs. So in this case, it goes in alignment with the 8, forms perpendicular because there's my right angle symbol. So I have to put it into my formula now. So we'll take a look up here. I'm going to write over these letters. But we have, I'll do it over here so it's a little easier. So I have 1/2. I'm going to put that down because that's a given. 1/2. And the reason it's 1/2, just so you know, is this is a triangle. A triangle is a half of a square. So if I had a square here, and I divided it in half, that's why I divide by 2, because it takes 2 triangles to make a whole square. Because remember the formula was before base times height. To find the area of a triangle, or excuse me, area of a square or rectangle. So that is why you divide by 2. Now with the other part, we have 1/2. Now we got to find the base, which is 8 centimeters, times 8 centimeters. What is the height? Well, the height is my invisible line. It's a line that is invisible. You can't see it. That's not normally there. It drops straight down to the ground. So if I stood up, I did something similar like this in class early on where I was talking about finding a height line. It's a line that if I stood straight up above from the ceiling to here, dropped a piece of tape, a tape measure straight to the ground, you would not normally see that tape measure. It would be measuring that distance from the top ceiling to the floor. So here we're doing the same thing. So we have a height of 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters. Now, basic math, show your work. We have first off, and if you need to do this, do it where you're setting it to 1. If you don't, that's okay. Because eventually you'll just be able to go. 1 times 8 is 8, times 4 is 32. 2 is my denominator, divide by 2. And then I'm ready to do the math and divide. 2 into 32, which means 2 into 3 goes once. 2 into 12 goes 6 times. Total, my final answer, 16 centimeters squared, because I'm still figuring area. Area means I'm always going to have squared. Again, this type of problem, 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is how I figure the area. So the area of that is 16 centimeters squared. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to slide this over a little bit and we're going to go directly over to the practice problems. These are on page 419. And then I'll erase my other work here that I had here so you can kind of see it. And what I want to do here is show you different triangle shapes, but again, the point that I want to find is, what is my height line? Okay, here's my height line, 49-degree angle, so my height is 6. So to set it up, I'm going to have 1/2 times my base, which is 10, because here's my height, perpendicular to the height, times 10 feet, times 6 feet, all right? Now, if you're asking, Mr. White, why in the world did they have the 7 there? We're not using it. Yes, you will. Because here's the thing. If they did want to find the perimeter of this, now they didn't give us the other figure for that, and if these were two identical measurements of 7 feet, then if this was 7, this would be 7. But this is different. We don't know 100% what this measurement is. We can find that, but that's a different level of math for right at the moment, but we're not going to worry about that right at the moment. So again, this is the excess, the numbers on the side are for finding the perimeter. The number that helps us find the perimeter and the area is the baseline. So you have 10 as a base here with a 6 feet, which is my height line. So again, 10 times 6. So we have 1 times 10 is 10, times 6 is 60, divided by 2. And we have 2 into 6 goes 30, so we have, our answer is 30 feet squared. Is my final answer. A equals 30 feet squared. Because I did the math. 1 times 10 is 10, times 6 is 60, divided by 2, which is there, 30 feet squared. Now, here they do give all 3 numbers. So that means I use the 56, 39, and 25 to find the perimeter. And I would use, since this is my height line perpendicular, I'd use 56 times 15 to find the area. Here again, there is no dotted line, but we naturally have a baseline, and what is perpendicular to that baseline? Well, the 6 inches. So it is a line, it exists. So let's just do this and figure the area and the perimeter on this one. So we're going to figure out first off the perimeter, which means add up all the sides. So we have 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 and 8 is 24. So we have a perimeter of 24 inches. Now we got to figure the area, and they're going to be asking you to do this. We have 8 inches for a base and a height of 6. Formula again, I'm going to write it up here. Actually, I'm going to fill it in with the formula up here. So we have 1/2 times the base, which is 8, times 6. And so do the math. 1 times 8 is 8, times 6 is 48, divided by 2. 2 into 48 gives me 24. Get there eventually. Okay, so my final answer there is 24 inches squared. Notice, perimeter and area in this case is the same. Now, as far as the same value. But is that always going to happen? No. Don't think it is. Don't start doing this. Oh, the perimeter is 24, therefore the area is 24. No. Do the math. Show the work. Do the math. Okay? And again, they are going to ask you both of those. So anyway, that basically is what we're doing with this. It's not super complicated on that. But again, if you're stuck on it, please ask me. And we will gladly work through it with you. So, but again, don't get all nerve-wracked about it and say, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Yes, you do. You'll be fine. So, anyway, if you have questions, again, call. Thanks a lot.